So we have this, this complex, right? This imposter syndrome where we feel like we are not supposed to be great. Like if we are, or like even if we work sweat and tears to get to where we are, when we get there, we don't really deserve it because your life or where you come from or the environment that you was raised in, the color of your skin, your gender. So you always, shut yourself down or not even think big enough because you can't fathom yourself deserving greatness or excellence or success.
Welcome everybody back to the Transformation Lab. You are in the lab. I am David Moss. Go ahead.
I can introduce myself.
Go ahead.
And I'm your girl, Dr. E. Welcome to the podcast, you guys.
Yes, and we have an amazing guest for you today, and I'll let Dr. E go ahead and introduce our guest.
Yeah, so we have the amazing Gwendolyn Berry, who's in the house. We are so excited. Everything that she has accomplished thus far. I'm so happy that she's here and willing to share her story about how she transformed into the woman that she is today, coming from the life that she lived when she was younger, how she transformed her life and made it all the way to the Olympics, and then now working towards an amazing impact within the athletic industry. So please, almost soon to be, hopefully, Dr. Gwen one of these days.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, Dr. E. Thanks, David, for inviting me. Thanks for the wonderful introduction. I am so happy to be here today.
We are so happy to have you.
Yes, we are.
So please, can you let us know about, just let the audience know a little bit about who you are and in your journey.
Yeah, so I'm Gwendolyn Berry. I am a two-time Olympian, former American record holder, former world record holder. I am probably the best African American hammer thrower in history thus far right now, as far as accomplishments, records, all of that good stuff. I'm a mother, I'm a friend, and I'm an activist. So my journey starts in St. Louis, Missouri, where I was raised. Activist athlete, got the shirt on. I see you. My journey starts in St. Louis, Missouri, where I was born and raised. I was raised by my father and his mother and his sister. I'm the oldest of 5 siblings. And yeah, I have a pretty interesting story.
Yes, you do. So once you got to, once you got to college, like, how was that transition for you?
So college was a big transition for me, I think primarily because I was so unlike my peers, right? So I had a kid when I was 14, for people who don't know, and that's, pretty early to be conceiving a kid, right? So I'm still a kid myself. So college was a big transition for me, for that reason, first and foremost, having a kid at such a young age. And second of all, going into college, not pursuing my favorite sport. So in high school, my favorite sport was basketball. And then in college, I actually took a scholarship to Southern Illinois University of Carbondale, where I received a track and field scholarship. So that was a total shift and total transformation, like the podcast, a big transformation going from my favorite sport to my second favorite sport, and trying to see where it will take me.
Okay, great.
So what led you into the track and field world from basketball to track? What made that transition?
Okay, so when we're talking about transitions, so basketball was, a sport that I was always in, right? But when I got to high school, you got to up it up a notch. These girls are serious. These girls are trying to get scholarships to the best colleges. So I use track and field as a means of condition work. So my basketball coach was like, if you guys want to get better, if you guys want to take it to the limit and be the best, you guys have to do a lot of off-season work. So track and field was my off-season sport. And every year after participating in track and field, I was a better basketball player. So that's how that happened. And eventually, because, you know, I feel like I was a very, very passionate athlete, I didn't want my, you know, my future in sport to be predicated on my peers. I felt like people weren't as passionate as me in sports. So I didn't want to play a team sport. I wanted to go to college for an individual sport. And that's why I pursued track and field.
Oh, okay. Okay, nice. So you obviously had to be good in track. So what events did you do? Like, and when you were winning, you had to be winning events. So while you were winning events, that it didn't dawn upon you that maybe I may mess around and get a track and field scholarship?
Not really. Again, just because you know, track and field was just a means for conditioning. So the events that I competed in high school were the triple jump, that was my best event, the long jump, and I was also a sprinter. So I did the 4x2s, if they needed me, the 4x1s, 4x4s. And I did dabble in a heptathlon because I was a good jumper. And you know, I tried, I think I threw the shot put in like in one heptathlete meet, and I won that meet as well. So I was a really good jumper really early. I had a really, really good high school coach. Like, I still talk to him to this day. He's really important to me, and we have a really cool bond because he pushed me to the limit for real and did not let me BS.
Yes, I love that. I love how he was making sure that you didn't BS.
Right.
Right. Because, you know, especially if we're thinking track and field as our second sport, you know, we're not going to take it as seriously. I'm only here really because I'm trying to get better at basketball.
Exactly.
You know, he had you focused and had some goals for you in mind. So, so now how did you get to the hammer throw?
So the hammer throw story is really funny. I was basically coerced to throw the hammer. Everyone was against me. Everyone wanted me to try it. And I first got introduced to the hammer throw by the throws coach then at Southern Illinois University. He said that my power, my attitude, and my agility and natural strength reminded him of a thrower who he used to coach at Ohio State University. So he approached my recruiting coach, who was the jumps coach, and he told the jumps coach, like, hey, I think she should try this event because, let's face it, she's not going to get much skinnier to be like a world-class jumper. You know, I was 175 pounds as a jumper, and I'm just naturally big, right? So he was just like, let's face it, you should just give her to me and, you know, let her jump here and there. So the jumps coach was like, I agree, you know what I'm saying? I think she should try it as well. So they both approached me, asked me to do it. I said, absolutely not. Girls were bigger than me, stronger than me. I threw in high school. I was not about to be a thrower. So I went home for Thanksgiving and Christmas break, and they had emailed my high school coach. Again, my high school coach, that's my dog. So I'm like, you know, whatever my high school coach, you know, approached me about, maybe I'll consider. So in the email, both of my college coaches were like, Gwendolyn Berry can be a world-class thrower. Like, absolutely, without a shadow of a doubt. We know that she has this type of potential, but she does not want to try this event. Maybe you can, you know, convince her to try it. So my high school coach sat me down. He was just like, Gwen, look at this email. Like, no one's going to send this email to anybody that doesn't believe that this could be true. And I cried. Dr. E, I cried tears because I'm like, I do not want to do this. Like, y'all trying to make me do something I've never done. I'm about to be a sophomore in college. I only have 3 years to get good at it. I don't want to do this. And so eventually my high school coach was like, girl, wipe your eyes, dry your tears, just give it a try, take a risk. And I did, and I got really good at it within a span of 3 months. So, yeah.
That is so crazy.
That's actually great. 3 months?
Right? 3 months.
Amazing.
Yeah. Man, that's so funny. Because it's like Gwen Berry, like, is like my idol when it comes to throwing. Like, anything that I'm, you know, like trying to do inside the circle, because of that, you know, that attitude you had, you know, you were so explosive. I mean, you knew exactly what you were doing. You didn't care if you was dragging that ball. You don't get that bitch as far as you can get it, and no one can tell you nothing. Yeah, absolutely. You were so amazing. I was just like, oh my gosh, I gotta be like her. other than the fact that I didn't really have a lot of Black throwers when I was at Kent State.
Right,
so
right.
When I seen you and you were doing amazing, I'm like, oh, I gotta follow her. Like,
okay, yeah.
Oh my gosh! And then one day, I happened to see you at Ohio State when I was training post collegiate.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, that's that girl,
Yeah.
Gwen. So yeah, no, and it's so funny because you were crying.
I was crying. What I was crying about? Probably because I did bad.
I know, right? Oh my gosh. That's amazing though. That's an amazing story. And I'm so happy they knew who to reach out to make sure that you jumped in there. They knew you had a great mentor in your life. So they reached out to him and said, hey, can you do us a little favor? We'll send you some steak or something. We'll take you out to dinner.
We'll take you to dinner if you convince her to do this event.
Right.
And it worked. They got me.
Yes. So by your senior, explain how you went from 0 to world champion in the weight throw. Like, how did that transition go for you?
It was a different transition for me, only because, like I said, the process that I went through to be a world-class thrower, of course, I've never experienced in my life. And, only a minor percent of us ever do, right? Only a few of us reach that status, and it's a journey, and it's a hard journey. I lifted a lot of weights. I pushed myself to the limit, like mentally, as far as like being able to withstand weight, convince myself to like peak out or, squat 600 pounds, front squat 300 pounds for reps. This is what I'm doing, y'all. And I'm 200 pounds. I'm front squatting 300 pounds for reps. Okay. Clean. Like, I can't afford drugs, never been on this. Let's get that clear. So the process was very hard. We had a training group. So every day we were competing against each other. We were competing against ourselves. So that was, something that helped me push myself to the limit. That support, that fire, that intensity, always having somebody to compete with you. And I think the third thing for me that helped like get me through my journey was just knowing the life I wanted to live and the life I wanted to give my family and my son. Like, when you come from absolutely nothing and you hate your life growing up and you hate your surroundings and you wish things were better and you want so much for your life to be very different, you're going to do whatever it takes mentally and physically and emotionally to get there. And, with the weights, with me being disciplined in school and making sure I kept good grades so I can be eligible, so I can compete all the time, and just not cheating myself at practice. All those tiny little things added up, and boom, I was world-class hammer thrower. And eventually I broke the world record and American record.
Good job. You brought up something there when you was talking about that you had never been on drugs, whatever. Now I know for Black athletes, that's the issue of getting drug tested. Serena came out talking about it. Sha'Carri just went through it. Basketball and football players are constantly talking, they have a good game and then they'll post the next day, look what happened. I said, I came out, scored 3 touchdowns, they brought me a cup. You know what I mean? I ran for 200 yards, or I put up 50 points. I said, Damon Lillard, or not Damon Lillard, but the guy he plays for the Cleveland Cavaliers, he hit 71 points, and that they brought him a cup. So did you have any experiences like that too, or how was that for you?
They just couldn't believe you're amazing.
Right.
Absolutely. Which is crazy. It's a crazy story, and I'm not gonna say no names because I don't want nobody to get in trouble, what have you. Because when you're getting drug tested, it's supposed to be a very private thing. However, I had a cool relationship with somebody who was drug testing me because they would always drug test me, right? And it just so happens that, I ask questions, especially about processes that have to do with me and my life and my future, all that good stuff. So anytime I'm getting drug tested, I'm asking questions, I'm, making conversation, I'm trying to get in the know. I'm just that type of person. So we so happened to have a conversation about how often I was getting drug tested because I was getting tired of it. I was getting drug tested almost 3 times a month. And for people, that's almost once a week, literally almost like every 10 days, almost every 8 days. It was ridiculous. And this was after I had broke the world record. And this is after I had broke the American record and almost did very well at world championships. I fouled out, but I was people had saw what I had did at practice. I threw almost 80 meters at practice. So in a practice event, right? Like 2 days before the world championships. So I was getting tested almost every 8 to 10 days. And I asked the guy, I was just like, is this normal? You know, is this normal? Is this normal? Like, I know y'all not doing this to every athlete under the International Olympic Committee. Like, y'all not doing this.
Yeah.
And he was just like, Gwen, to be for real, out of all the athletes under the IOC, under the Olympic umbrella. Now, mind you, this is Winter Olympics and Summer Olympics. I was the top 3 athletes getting tested the most. Top 3. I don't even know who the other athletes were, but I can't imagine because I'm a thrower. So there is no way I'm getting more recognition or tested more than sprinters who make way more money than me.
Right.
Or winter sports athletes who make way more money than me. I'm top 3. I know the other one had to meet Simone Biles. I know it was me and her. I know it was me and her. Because she had a phenomenal year at the same time I had a phenomenal year.
Right.
So absolutely, David, I did experience that.
That is crazy. I just, the way they target us on different issues is so crazy. And that being one of them, they try to act like, oh, no, it's nothing. Just no, it is something. You know, especially when you can point it out. When you can see it and pinpoint it, and you're like, no, well, this can't be. And nobody has an answer for you on the why.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And you can feel it. You can feel it.
Right. And without that why answer, is like, then you already know what it is. Like, oh, okay, I got it. Now I know I'm being tested. I mean, it's silly. And then you think the cyclist that had the cancer, he wasn't really being tested like that. You know, that lied on that. Like, Lance Armstrong.
Yeah, you know, Lance Armstrong. Yeah,
he was drug testing the whole time. Well, what happened in that situation? You know. It's just, I know it's other throwers about your size or throw you, you know, and throw just.
Yeah, that's winning medals. That's more medals than I can ever imagine, and it's not the same.
Right, exactly. And that was before the activism, right? Before the activism.
That was before, you know, I decided to, you know, do my part to help underserved communities. Absolutely.
Right. Yeah. See, even with that, you can be like, okay, because you know, once you do the activism, you got a target on you.
Absolutely.
So you can even point and be like, okay, I'm doing activism. I get it. This is my kind of like my punishment for, you know, helping my people. But it's not even that. So we already know it's blatantly straight up. You can call it what it is. I call it what it is. It's blatant racism. You know, they're just looking at you because you're a strong Black woman in this sport. They're trying to cut back because, you know, once we get in the sport, we take it over.
Absolutely. And I got too good too fast, and they had never seen an athlete do that, yet alone a Black woman. Exactly. That came out of nowhere. That's honestly smaller compared to other throwers. I'm a small thrower. I'm a small thrower. So.
And then I always think about this. Maybe it's because with certain athletes, they try to stop everybody else in their tracks. You know, if it happens to you, then they can slow down the process because, you know, female Black people see you throwing, they're like, oh, I want to be a thrower like her.
Exactly.
Female Black throwers, and now we're taking over the sport for real. Over the sport. They try to nip that in the butt or slow the process down as it can. So like, well, we harass her and keep her down, and maybe we won't get such a following, but you can't stop greatness.
Well, you know, the thing is, people don't realize that representation is so important. So just like what I was talking about, like, oh my gosh, that girl's amazing. Like, you're amping me up. Like, I'm going further PRs just because I'm seeing how amazing you are.
Absolutely.
Like, you're activating me in my amazingness. You know what I mean? And that's what they don't want.
Right.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? And that's why a lot of times they have us, you know, inside this world, and we're never in the picture.
Absolutely.
And then someone, you know, it's kind of like concrete. And then, you know, when a flower happens to grow right through the cracks, you're like, damn, I want to do that too. You know what I mean? Like, and they're
absolutely
like, up here.
Right. That's why they never tell us that we were kings and queens, that we were victorious in certain things, that we actually did chop our slave masters' heads off and rebel a lot. They keep those things from us because those stories and that representation and that power and those, you know, those instances will fuel us. And once we're fueled and once we have that seed, we can do anything. And that's why they keep those things from us, so that we don't feel like we can conquer anything.
Yes. Because you wonder why they would go so hard at history in schools. Like, oh, we're going to change history, we're going to revise history. Yep. What is history that you don't want everybody to know? What is it about history that you got to go so hard at that you don't even want it to be in books anymore? We're banning books like the Nazis, so
absolutely.
It's just it's all an interesting situation.
It's so crazy how it affects just like they don't want us good in any area. They don't want any representation in any area.
They want entertainment. They don't want you. They just want entertainment. That's it.
That's it.
Shut up and dribble.
Yeah, the shut up and dribble. Tell LeBron. Yeah. Like, who you talking to? Like, are you serious? No, we ain't gonna go there. My doctor and my facts is about to come out, girl. Anyways. Oh God!
Yeah, we could be on that all day. That would take a whole hour in itself, just that one conversation.
Oh my gosh! Like, why do you feel as if he should just shut up and dribble?
Yeah,
it's because you have him in a certain place and you feel like he should stay there.
Right.
It's not. You know what I mean? You don't think that
Absolutely.
He has enough intellect, right?
But what is it about the word that he's saying that you don't want to be said? Because it's something he's saying that if you don't want to be said, what is it and why is it? You gotta answer those 7 whys to get to the heart.
Oh my gosh, yes. Yes. So anyway, oh man. So when it came to diversity within track and field, how did you feel being the first? Like the first, like most decorated. I'm talking about Gwen came in there knocking down doors, knocking out ceilings, like, yeah, I'm here and we about to do this.
Right.
Like, how did you feel being the only one? I mean, like, other than Amber Campbell,
right,
amazing hammer thrower. Then we had the Cuban girl, but other than that, it wasn't
Yipsy.
Much. Yeah, Yipsy.
Yeah.
It wasn't much in Yipsy Moreno. It wasn't much in actually the United States, where American females were taking over throws.
Right.
So how did it feel being the first? Like, you're inside of a line of, I'm sure you had tracked me to about 4 flights.
Right.
And you're probably the only Black girl, maybe 2.
Only one. Yeah. So well, I guess I misspoke. Let me take that back. I feel like Amber Campbell and Yipsy Moreno were very, very well decorated hammer throwers as well, like as far as medals and everything. Shout out to them because Yipsy Moreno was actually my favorite hammer thrower. I used to watch her. And Amber Campbell, I love her to death. She's a great mentor, great friend. I looked up to her so much, even though I was trying to be coerced not to like her. That's how crazy some people are.
Yeah. I heard that too. Yeah.
Yeah. So I love her to death. I was so glad that we got close, like towards the end of her career. I was able to, give her flowers and tell how much I appreciate her on her way out. So as far as me being, kind of like the only and the first in a lot of regards, it was lonely. I felt isolated, of course. I always felt like there was a target on my back. I always felt like whatever I did, I had to be perfect, because if I didn't, people would judge me more, judge me harder, criticize me or ridicule me the most. People definitely hated me the most, of course, because not only was I, the first in a lot of regards, but I was sexy. You know what I'm saying? Like I had style, I had attitude. I wore my makeup a certain way. I wore my lips the way I wanted to. I wore my hair the way I wanted to. And I wasn't afraid to be like bold, beautiful, and good, right? Like I wasn't really quiet in a lot of regards. I was definitely humble because, I was very new at this. But I wasn't afraid to show a lot of my personality. And I feel like people definitely don't like that as well, right? Like you can't be good and cute and bold and like cool. You know what I'm saying? Like people misconstrue who you are, try to like make you be somebody you're not. But honestly, I'm just the coolest person in the world, and I just like to be fine when I was throwing. Putting on my makeup, help my anxiety, before a competition. So that was just my thing. And yeah, being the only was was a very hard feeling, but I feel like if I hadn't, if Gypsy hadn't did it, if Amber hadn't did it, then there would be no me. So I'm happy that I was the only one during my time too, because they were doing their time.
Yes. Oh, that's so true. And you know what? Definitely another shout out to Gypsy. I actually watched her first before I started watching you. Like I watched her first, but then you look more like me. Like you had the hips, you know what I mean? You had everything that I had. Like, okay, no, I need to watch her because she's definitely doing it. She's up and coming. And on top of that, she's in the United States, so I could find her behind. Yes. And definitely you were the coolest thrower. Like just down to earth when I met you, like, hey, how you doing?
Cool.
You know, go throw. Let's go eat. Let's go chill.
Yeah.
Just first day I met her, like I just couldn't believe, like, I'm staying at Gwen's house.
Got a room. You had your own room. Y'all had your own room when y'all used to come over.
Yes.
We used to cook, watch TV, and chill.
Just chill and go next day.
Yep.
Oh my gosh. And they talk shit to me also when we're at, like, the competitions. Like, put down. Like a fool, you do this. But you could really feel Gwen's heart. Like she's not talking at you, talking crazy. She's talking because she really wants to see you succeed. Oh my gosh, and I love that.
Yeah.
So I mean, man, I PR'd at almost at every track meet you were at, just because if I'm an extension of you, you showing up, I gotta show up and show
out. Absolutely.
Oh man, girl. Okay, so when it comes to mentorship, other than your high school track and field coach, who else do you have a mentorship with or you look up to now, or even now within your who do you have mentorship with while you're in track and field? We'll say with track and field.
It's like I had mentors at every like little stage of my journey, right? So high school, I had a lot of good high school coaches. Well, let's go before high school, like grade school, high school, I had a lot of good coaches, like even AAU coaches. Like I had a cool AAU coach, still cool with his daughter. His daughter's a star. She's an actor. She works with Israel. Amazing. What? Shout out to Blue and Coach John. Amazing AAU coach. Really inspirational female high school coaches and grade school coaches. Coach Celeste, she was one of my coach. I had another coach in high school that was really cool, and then of course my coach, Coach Warbring. In college, I would say my mentors in college was more so my jumps coach, the head coach, and then my friends. Like I looked up to my friends because again, I was so different. Like I had a hard life growing up, right? I had a kid when I was 14. I was very, very insecure about a lot of things in my life. And I just wanted to be around people who were better than me. So my mentors became my friends who, had better upbringings, who were like in different majors, who were like, stable young women. And so I looked up to my friends in college. Let's see, out of college, I would say I'm going to Freedom School. My mentors at my Freedom School, Baba Wavokwe and his wife. They were my mentors. They helped me with this whole advocate transition, find your power, find your light, your strength. And of course, again, just friends. So a few of my friends that I've met and my bosses that I've met, currently, I won't say any names, but yeah, I've had a lot of mentors and a lot of people that I've looked up to. And now that I'm networking so much more in my life, I try to, again, just be surrounded by people who are better than me, or else I really don't care to be surrounded by people at all, honestly.
Oh, I know that's right.
So can you speak to the importance of mentorship and how important it is to your development as wherever you go, in the world?
Right. Mentorship is so important because it's like your roadmap, right? Like it's somebody giving you the roadmap that they, curated and they, went through. so that you won't have to go through the bumps and bruises and the bad experiences or the bad decisions, and get to where you need to be faster, more effectively, and healthy, right? Mentally healthy, like, because when you go through a lot of hard things, it does affect you mentally and emotionally. Some people give up, some people run away, some people stop. And so that mentor is that person who guides you. It's a hand who guides you along the way. And they are very, very important to your growth and your path. They're your help. And I feel like what we fail to realize about mentorship, and what I fail to realize, is some people don't mind to be bugged, right? If you're asking people questions about their life, their journey, and you're asking them to help you along the way, I call them informational interviews. Make sure you do that. Make sure you reach out to your mentors. They love to hear your feedback, and I get that so much. And I'm like, it does like give me relief when people tell me that, like, reach out to me, I'll help you, let me know this, keep me in the know, because that has helped me like a lot now that I'm transitioning.
Yeah, I think that we speak toward mentorship a lot in these podcasts, and that's one of the things that we do, because I think mentorship, I don't know if this is next generation I want to talk bad about, but I don't know if they're as receptive to mentorship, because you live in the fast now, want it now age. So getting mentors like, I'll figure it out. Oh yeah, I'll Google it. Something like. But there is a real value in taking time to be mentored and slowing down and listening. That whole listening component we're missing nowadays too. Nobody really wants to sit down and listen. So I love that you can speak towards mentorship and the value of it, because people need to hear that. That's one thing that people really need to get. Like, everybody needs a mentor. I don't care who you are. You're going to need to be mentored in some parts of your life, work world, wherever you go. So, everybody needs that help.
I think it doesn't help that social media makes it seem as if everybody has their life together. So everybody always feels like, I don't need help, I'm good. You know what I mean? Like, they're putting on this front.
Right.
And it's like, it's okay to want help, to need help, and to want direction. Like, it's totally okay. It's a part of life. That's the part of the video that they're editing out.
Right.
And only showing you.
Yeah, only showing the good stuff.
Only showing you the good stuff. They don't show you the sweat, the tears, and all the struggles they went through to get to where they're at today. Or also that they're still going through. They just never film it.
Right.
Like, they're human just like everybody else.
Yeah.
And so I think that's one of the hard parts, is that when you look on social media, when people spend hours on their phones all the time, what you see is normally perfect worlds.
Right.
So I think that's one of the hardest parts, is people are trying to keep up with the Jones.
Yeah.
What is the Joneses? The Joneses. Okay. We're trying to keep up. See, I don't try to keep up with them. I don't even know their damn name. But people are trying to keep up with the Joneses, and
even the Joneses need help.
Oh my God!
Like, you look at the people with money.
Even the Joneses ain't keeping up with everybody.
Right.
Thank you.
The people with the money be the worst depressed ones, because they're not getting the help they need in certain situations and areas. Because if they had mentorship, they wouldn't be so sad down and commit suicide and other things like that with the money. And then, it's that, and that's where we say that mentorship and having that person in your ear to pause or lean back on or point you this way, whether you listen or not. You can go back like, man, I should have listened. Just having that person there.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So, man, so being the woman that you are today, like, what would you tell your younger self? Like, the one who's about to transition from high school to college, what would you tell her to help ease her mind on the journey that she's about to take?
If I could tell my younger self something, I would definitely tell myself to, like, be okay with being great, right? So we have this, this complex, right? This imposter syndrome, where we feel like we are not supposed to be great. We are not supposed to be in the room.
Hey you guys, it's your girl Dr. E. My name is Dr. Fua Ampadu Moss, and this video is only for parents of student athletes who's about to enter that college level or who's already at that college level. I have an amazing community of parents and student athletes and coaches and mentors who is ready to make sure their student athlete graduates and gets across that stage. And I definitely want you to be a part of that amazing group to make sure they have all the action plans they need in regards to academia, networking, careers, like just everything that we needed, everything that we kind of neglected a little bit when we were in college, just to remind them that, hey, you need these amazing tools in order to make sure that you are successful when you cross that stage. So let's definitely bond together, get together, start networking, connecting with each other, and learning on how we can make all our student athletes' dreams possible on and off the field. So yes, again, my name is Dr. E. Click the link below, and I'll be more than happy to meet you in the Transformation Lab community.
Big enough because you can't fathom yourself deserving greatness or excellence or success. So I would definitely tell and I think I failed a lot in my life because I had that syndrome. I felt like I was an imposter to greatness or success. So I would tell my younger self, girl, you can be great and it's okay. Like nothing bad can come from you being great because you actually worked hard for it and you deserve it and your ancestors lived so you can be here today. Right. So definitely don't be afraid to be great.
Yes. That's good information. You know what? A fool told me that same exact thing when we got to Nashville because I was second guessing myself and she had to bring me along like, dude, what are you talking about? You'll be perfectly fine. Pretty much what you said. Don't be scared to be great. Get on out there and make it happen. Because I came with excuses and she stopped that. And that's when I had to really take a look at myself with that. You know what? Maybe I can do this. Maybe I am, in a position to put myself wherever I need to go. And taking that journey took me to other journeys to get me, like you said, the knowledge that I need to get to the whole, you're black and you're great type,
Yeah.
Excellence. You get all the history, take it all in there. I went to Africano Studies minor. I'm Africano Studies minor, so you get all that information and you see where you come from and the things that's been held from you, and that puts everything in a different perspective. So now you're looking at it different. Now you're feeling different about yourself. Now you're feeling more accomplished once you know the accomplishments that your ancestors made.
Right.
Which is a trillion that they never tell you about. Then all the accomplishments came from us. They'll never tell you that. People will argue you down. But it really happened. And once you know that information, it changes everything about you. It changes your whole setup, your whole process of thinking, and then it gives you that feeling of accomplishment. Mm-hmm. But they don't tell you those things, like everybody always says, our history starts from slavery. That's how they started.
They want you to believe. Yeah, that's what they tell us. We were only slaves. Like that's it. And that's just
right. We came off the boat and we were slaves. And everybody got a bone in their nose and no one had nowhere to live, That's how they wanted you to think, instead of like, and it doesn't even have to be that we are all queens and queens, just our greatness alone. Like, okay, if you didn't want to say that we was all kings and queens, just let us know that we was great. Let us know that we was human and we deserve to be in a book. Let us know all the accomplishments everybody, instead of trying to take them for yourself. You know what I'm saying? They want to take everything that we've done. And that's just, even to this day, they still do the same thing. They let somebody else do it, try to run by and take the credit for it. And our greatness gets pushed by the wayside. So
always, yep.
Yes, definitely always. But yes, no, I'm just like he said, I'm very well no excuse type of girl. I don't like excuses. I can't stand them. But it helps create a never give up spirit. That's what I believe. Yeah. That you're always going. I was just telling Kobe, today. Kobe's my son, everybody. I'm sorry, it's our son. And he's 10 years old. And sometimes when he loses the game, he comes with an excuse. And I'm like, the game was doing this, and I think it was lagging, and that guy, he came out of I'm like, honey, I don't do well with excuses. So every single time you lose a game, I want you to say what you could have done better. Right. You need to learn how to take responsibility. Yes. If it's lagging, sit you behind by the Wi-Fi box and play the game. And then if it's not the lag, then figure out something else that you may be doing wrong. I'm like, but you have to continue to strive to get better. You can't always just point the finger.
Right.
Point at yourself, because guess what? It's going to help you build character. You know what I mean? In your own life. It's going to help you be the man that you need to be. So, and take initiative. Like, if you learn how to take initiative now, oh my gosh.
Right.
When you become 20 or 30, you'll be such an amazing asset to society.
Yes. Yes, these
Yes.
are all true to the T life lessons. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Also, as you said, you had a son. You have a son. So how's he doing now? I mean, like, and also just being able to watch you grow, I just can't imagine. You've got to be his hero.
Yeah, so my son is the coolest kid in the world, man. He is so polite, so cool, so quiet, so smart. Um, he expresses himself, he's like the Gemini, so he's quiet, but he's loud. He's evil, but he's so sweet. So, he's doing good right now. He's in his sophomore year. He's studying engineering. We literally were just texting the other night about his test, like this make or break test that he had to complete and how it was really hard. And I'm like, all right, you got to be a genius amongst geniuses. Like, you got this, you good. So, he was just telling me his woes and like things he know he's doing good, things like you said, taking accountability, knowing things that he can do for next time, or to embed, better himself. So he's doing good, he's thriving, and I am just so excited to see how he fares in the future because it's competitive out here, and my son is just so smart. But again, like me being able to understand what I would give to my younger self, I make sure I always give to him. I make sure he always knows that he deserves everything he's doing because he is smart, he is kind, he is brilliant, he is hardworking. And so I instill everything in him that I possibly can think of. So, and being his mom and mentor so that he has an easier journey than I had.
Right. Right. Just mentally.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think that people take mental for granted. If
Right.
you get mental right, oh my gosh, you can literally accomplish the world.
Yeah.
And you know what I mean? And to consistently instill that in him, that is so beautiful because our kings need it.
Yes.
Stuff going on in the world, we don't have a choice but to work with mental. Every time you turn around, there's something else to make you go crazy. Another student, another this, another that, So you got to pull back, just get your mental together, just to walk out the door again, So it's always, that's the first step for everybody, for everybody. It's mental, getting your mental together.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You're nothing without that. You're going to be, because you can get all far, you can have all these accomplishments, and then it'll come back. Kanye West. And that mental will come back to haunt you.
That's true.
Throwing shade on him. That's just
Kanye West.
Yeah. I'm just saying, that's the biggest case right there that we all witnessed with our own eyes. Like it wasn't hidden from us, and he put it out there. So
Yeah, I mean, great artist,
right?
Hands down. But just had to get his mental together, which I get, and I really can't speak to his story because I've never, and I just can't imagine that pain. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
I want to tell you right now, if I lose mine, you gonna have to come get me, girl.
I got you, friend.
It better be natural causes because let it be any accident. I will have some accidents as well.
I got you, friend.
Oh my gosh. Yes, I can't imagine. So yeah.
You got the not to cut you off, I'm sorry.
No, you're fine.
But you got the apparel of the activist athlete that I have on. I just wanted to know, at what point did you know that activism was something that you needed to do?
I feel like it was something that just kind of was always in me, but I didn't know I needed to do it until I would say the death of Michael Brown. So Michael Brown died. I forgot what year it was, but in St. Louis, Missouri. Michael Brown was from St. Louis, Missouri, like myself. And after his death, and after like witnessing the protesting, being on the ground, having those feelings in my heart, watching people cry, watching people feel angry and upset, just feeling that tension. I feel like that's when I knew I needed to do something. But of course, it took me a few years to actually act. Because I wanted to educate myself and just wanted to be sure. And I was moving fast. But I feel like right after Michael Brown is where I start kind of advocating, speaking, doing more public speaking, reaching out to more community impact initiative people. Going to schools in St. Louis, Missouri and talking to the kids there, having private conversations with students that I knew from my coaches and my peers. I was doing a lot of private work then. And then in 2019, when I decided to protest, I felt like it had just, all came to a head. I was tired of seeing what I was seeing, and I feel like so many of us were dying for no reason.
Yes.
No justifiable reason.
Right.
And I feel like our lives were not taken into consideration by the system, the American system. And it has never, been taken into consideration. But I don't feel like those things hit me until I was an adult and mature, and trying to navigate in this, world that doesn't really care about everybody.
Right.
Yes.
Now, in what ways, we talked about this earlier, in what ways did the system push back on you and try to punish you for doing what you did, for being that stand-up person, stand out person?
Yeah, so I mean, the first thing they was trying to kick me out the Olympic Games, y'all. Like, if y'all didn't know, when I protested in 2019, I got reprimanded. So I was on punishment, like as far as competition, for a year. So if it wasn't for COVID, I would not have been able to compete at the Olympic Games. They was trying to Dr. John Carlos me and Tommy Smith me, kick me out the Olympic Games. A lot of people don't know this, but like COVID really saved the day. And COVID gave me like my superpower, because during COVID, I was on their head, I was arguing with the, USOPC, the head of the president of USOPC. I was getting into it with the IOC. Like, I was like their biggest problem during 2020, because of all the tension, again, because of the height of everything that was happening in America at that time. So besides me basically trying to kick me out the Olympic Games. I lost all of my living salary. I lost like $80,000. I lost all my sponsors. I lost a lot of support from old coaches and friends and teammates who I thought I was cool with, who I gave money to and helped. We ain't gonna get into that though. Thousands of dollars to and helped. I lost a lot of support. So
you know who you are. You know you're wrong. You wrong.
I lost a lot of support, and that's when I knew I had done something that needed to be done.
Right. Yeah. When the backlash happens like that, that's something that really affected the world, because they're trying so hard to stop. They're trying so hard to stop you that that you're doing something good.
Yeah, it's something that could really move the masses, and when you are afraid of that person who can potentially move the masses, you execute them. Point blank.
Right. Exactly.
And they start with your finances, because your finances determine your success.
Exactly. Especially in the African American community.
Yes.
Because we are less likely to have just $1,200 in a time of emergency. So cutting $80,000 from you is they would come from your throat.
I see. It's funny to me how certain sponsors will sponsor this person and it's all good, they'll sponsor them to death, but then punish you for doing the same thing that the other person did that you're sponsoring. You know what I mean? Like, so instead of sponsoring everybody and giving them this whole plateau of, we're gonna lead this way, no, you get punished and you get the grand stage and all the other accolades for whatever reason.
You know what? I'm sorry not to cut you off, but not just that. The fact that during Black History Month, all these sponsors always have the little videos of how they're supporting Black lives and this and that and the third, probably using your picture, using John Carlos' picture and everything. But as soon as you do the exact same thing, like, hey, because they're too simple to realize we're still fighting the same battle.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean? Can you go ahead and speak on that?
Yeah, it's what the young people say is cap, right? These major companies and organizations, they act like they care about our lives until we say, okay, this is what caring about our lives look like. This is how, we feel, or this is what needs to be done. And they say, no, you're not supposed to say that. Like, you can't say that. Like, let us donate when we should donate. You don't need to move the masses, because if you do it, you're going to really, really create some change. When they say they want to donate to, underserved communities or Black organizations, it's just a means of tokenism. they're really not putting their money where their mouth is, because after my stance in 2019, the whole world should have supported me to say, Gwendolyn Berry, what is your idea? What ideas do you have? Why do you feel like this? What do we need to do first? Based off of this and some of the things you know, how do we effectively change some of the things that you are talking about in and out of sport? In sport for sure, out of sport immediately, because people need help now.
Yes.
These companies and organizations are lying to us. These people who have power are lying to us. They have been lying to us. And until they are okay with the leader who does not look like them to help create change, they'll never really be intentional about creating true change.
Yeah, that whole summer of George Floyd, that changed that, everybody was donating here, donating to HBCUs, diversity in this job, this, that, and the third program. And now, little by little, all that's going by the wayside.
It's like nothing. But what if, okay, so y'all ask me this, and the people who are paying attention to, this podcast, ask me this. What advertisement have you seen to say, this company donated this, this is, here we are now? Have y'all seen any advertisement say, this money came from the 2020 donations, the COVID donations, the COVID tokenism campaign? You don't see anything coming from all those millions of dollars that people supposedly donated during and after the death of George Floyd, right?
Yes.
We don't see nothing, and that's the problem. That's the problem. Where is this money going? There's so many people that need help. Where is it going? What are we seeing from it? But we'll be quick to see a freaking commercial about a Fox newscaster having sex with his co-host. We'll see that. We'll see the before and after he was married. Oh, they got together here, they were creeping here, they had sex here, and now they're fired. We see their whole journey, but we don't see the journey of unserved neighborhoods thriving after a donation. Don't see that.
Exactly.
And that's the problem.
That'll be one hell of a documentary.
Yeah, this is the clip that y'all should play on your Instagram, and then I'm a
for real?
This is your heading clip right here. Where is the donations? People need help.
Where is the donations? Exactly.
People need help.
So after you threw up the fist, did John Carlos ever or anybody ever reach out to you in support? Because I know you lost a lot, but what positivity came out of you standing up?
Oh yeah, I had a lot of support. Dr. John Carlos is my mentor, has been my mentor. He honestly kept me in the game. I didn't even want to train to compete to try to make the team in 2021. I wanted to be done. I was done with track and field, and I cried about it, thought about it, talked to my family about it. And my coach at the time was just like, we should ask other athletes how they felt or how they would feel, or, what you should do. We reached out to Dr. John Carlos, and, he was just like, you got to keep going, sister. He was like, I know you down and out. I know you tired. I know you lost a lot. He was just like, you got to keep going. And I was just like, all right. And, I fought to make the 2021 team because, again, a lot of people don't know, you're not automatically on an Olympic team. You make the Olympic team on that day of the trials. You have one day, 3 opportunities to get 3 more opportunities to make the team. And you have to be top 3. So it's 3 on 3 on 3. You don't just throw something during the season and make the team like other events, like gymnastics or, swimming. They select their team like months or years before the Olympic Games. Track and field is on that day. It's make or break every time. So imagine that pressure, making the hardest team in the world on one day. It is tremendous. It's so much pressure. It is the most pressure I ever felt in my life, besides having a kid at the age of 14. People don't know it's so hard. And so for him to tell me to keep going, I was honestly defeated, but his small little seed, made me do it. And I represented at the Olympic Games.
Yeah. And that's all it takes in most situations, is somebody planting that back to mentorship, somebody planting that seed in you so it can blossom. Even if it's years down the road, that seed is there to blossom. Man, and once you get it, you know, and it flourishes, that's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful process.
Yeah.
I know he was pretty. I know he was very proud of you too for everything you did after that moment. And you know, if you had a chance to tell him like you was the one that got me there, or whatever your words that inspired me, whatever.
Yeah.
I know it had to be a good feeling to see you go out there and get it done too. So
yeah. Absolutely.
So after the 2020 games, so like what have you been doing lately after the 2020 games? Well, 2021 actually, but we're not gonna talk about that.
Yeah. So after Tokyo, I decided to go back to school because of Dr. E. Um and you know her encouragement, and I pursued my master's degree in public health, and I'm emphasizing on DEI and philanthropy. So I've been, you know, completing my degree, working for a nonprofit organization, and you know, just trying to stay, you know, grassrooted in what I want to do. So I've been applying to jobs, interviewing, had a lot of informational interviews, attending seminars, and you know, doing speaking engagements, to try to, you know, ground my career in diversity, equity, and inclusion. My biggest goal is to help companies and organizations with their community impact initiatives. So all their programs that they do to give back to underserved communities, that's what I want to be a part of. So you know, I've been doing a lot of things, but that's where my heart is. And I've been getting to some places in some rooms, but because I have only been an athlete, it is hard to compete with other people's portfolios. So I'm still steadfast, and you know, I'm going on some good interviews.
that's good.
No, that's great. So when it comes to like being an athlete, especially when you were at Carbondale, right? What type of like career opportunity, like career services, or did they put in place to make sure you guys were going to be successful once it was time for you guys to graduate and technically move on from athletics?
To be honest, we didn't have a lot of career opportunities like put in place for us. Like I believe to the general population of the school, maybe they had more recognition of certain career fairs and so ons that go on campus. But for student athletes, honestly, because of our traveling, because of our scholastics, because of, you know, being tired, trying to be disciplined, being punctual. Those things weren't thrown in our face because let's face it, we were, you know, we were told to be great athletes. Like that was our contribution to the school, and things that would deter us from being great athletes were in place in front of us.
Right.
Unfortunately.
Yes, exactly. You know, it's great that, you know, student athletes, they, you know, they graduate at about a 70% rate, which is actually technically better than the regular student body of students that actually go to universities. But when it comes to African American student athletes, the graduation rate for African American males is 55%, and African American females is 67%. But even at some of the top universities, I'm not going to call them out, but I have seen graduation rates at top schools they have no excuse at like 36%.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, well, what's going on? Because only a 0.0, you have a 0.07 chance of making it to the NFL or the NBA. So what are happening to these student athletes? Did you see anybody, you know, drop out, or what was your education like? Where did you feel like it was hard to keep up with your classwork? You know what I mean? Like, how was that for you?
So for me, just because I was a nerd, low-key, I didn't feel like it was too hard to keep up with my scholastics, but for the general, you know, student athlete population, it was hard. School is not for everyone. School is not easy for everyone. I feel like schools do need to emphasize the importance of mentorship, of tutors, and academic success just as much as sports related success. I feel like we didn't get those. I feel like those things weren't emphasized. You know, we didn't know we could get a tutor for every class every day if we wanted to. We didn't know that we could talk to our advisor any time of the day, basically, hotline them or whatever the case is. Like we didn't know those things. And I'm not sure if people understand that when you are African American and you come from most of the time a home that is not organized or not disciplined, because your mother is always working, your father's always working, your older sister is raising you because she got to feed you a little bit before you got to go to school tomorrow, because your parents got to work all day, so they make sure you got a roof over your head. There are more resources that are needed for that kid, especially on a higher education level. So I don't think universities understand that concepts, and they don't emphasize the resources that most people need coming from backgrounds that are not scholastic oriented.
Right.
So, yeah.
At this point too, after so many years of college, it's like I don't know if they don't know or don't care. If they don't get it or they just don't care.
Yeah.
Because after so long, it's like you just don't care, do you?
Boom. Boom. Because let's face it, like what do the Black athletes bring? They bring that donor money, and that donor money is way, way, way much bigger than that scholastic money. The scholastic money keep the school afloat, keep the government giving the school grants or what have you. But that donor money, that makes the world go round.
Right. They give you their own version of shut up and dribble without saying shut up and dribble. That's what they do.
Yeah.
You'll say, go little black boy, go play.
Yeah, right.
Go play your butt off and come back with them buckets.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, also when you see that a lot of the fields, like the football fields and the basketball courts, like a lot of the fields are about 60% African American, 70% African American. But when you actually look at the PWIs, like classroom, or look at the numbers for how many African Americans are actually in the population, it's like 2%, 3%, 1%. So I'm always confused. Like, so are you guys just recruiting us for athletics? Because we're the only ones I actually see on the field. Absolutely. And then on top of that, you don't even ensure that we graduate. So I'm very confused on why we're here. You're better off just leaving us at our HBCUs, because at least I know I'll get a degree. Yeah. At least I'll know they'll have my back and make sure I don't go back to my community with an overdeveloped body and an underdeveloped mind. And I can't give back to the community that I just came from. And on top of that, you just took me for the last 5 to 6 years, and I wasn't able to contribute to my family and help them build generational wealth.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we don't want to talk about that.
No. That's a whole nother
That's a whole nother conversation.
A whole nother conversation.
We want to thank you for coming by the lab. Thank you for coming to the Transformation Lab. You're welcome back anytime. It's been a great interview. Any last words, Dr. E?
Oh no, I'm just overwhelmed that you are here and that you decide to click on. I love hearing your story every time, and I love hearing your story, and every single time you tell it, it's always a little bit different. Yeah. Because your growth changes so much. It shows that you are consistently growing, consistently striving, and so willing to impact the world. Like, not just your amazing son and your 5 siblings and your mom and your dad, and your grandparents, whatever, but you're trying to literally impact the world, impact the community. And I mean, no one can ever take that away from you. Right. And I'm so proud to be a part of your journey and where you are striving to go.
Thank you. Thank you guys for having me so much. Y'all tune in every time the lab is posted. Thank you so much for having me, y'all. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
No problem at all. Thank you.
Hey, you guys. We really hope you enjoyed that last episode.
And if you're really ready to keep transforming, go ahead and jump into that next lab episode. The one right here. Down here. The link right here.
It's probably over here.
Or there. Or here. Link. Click. Go ahead. You got it.